We have the President of Botswana, Dr. Masisi. A great speech yesterday, and we're going to talk right now. So come on up, Mr. President.
Great. Sit.
All right. Yes. I wish everyone would stand up for me. When I walk in the office, everyone's like, Well, again, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you hosting us. So thank you again. Thank you very much. The first time we met in person, as you mentioned yesterday at the concert, was everybody there last night? Good show, right? Great show. We were at World Economic Forum. We were in Davos, and we were talking. And you were talking about the idea of Botswana being one of these entrepreneurial little engines, the way that, like, Israel is, or Singapore, these little countries that kind of overpunch their weight in terms of entrepreneurship. Maybe, kind of what kind of put you on that path? That's something that's new for Botswana.
Thanks a lot. And, let me begin by welcoming everybody. Very nice to see you, Patrice. And his dear wife, my dear wife, VP, and everybody, hi. I am very fortunate to lead a young country that's bursting at the seams with energy. And it's the energy of the young people. It's the energy of now. What I want very badly for them is for them to want and to overtake progress. I very badly want for them to be solution providers. I very badly want for them to enlive their age and their time, because they are almost like amphibians. They swim in this environment. You give them a challenge, you give them an opportunity, they embrace it. And in Botswana, having invested in peace and democracy and freedom and education for all of us, from our diamonds, we want to transform our people to become these new diamonds that never end. And I so badly want it. And I thought, if only we could get Forbes Under 30 here, it would be so representative. So that's why we talk.
Again, we're having a great time. I'm hearing from so many people from around the world saying, wow, this is amazing. Let's make a little news. I was reading that, I think it was yesterday or the day before, you announced a new Ministry of Entrepreneurship. I don't know whether that's I honestly don't know whether that's a coincidence of us being here, but regardless, what does this mean for Botswana and for Greater Africa, and for entrepreneurs who have come here to see how they can do business with Botswana and Africa?
It's through this ministry that I intend to converge a lot of the changes, stellar changes we've been putting in place. Digitization, technology, innovation, disruption. You talk of everything that breaks the ceiling and provides for opportunity to engage in business, the skill sets required, the connections. We've signed on to the African Continental Free Trade Area. I want our young people to bang into this. This ministry is charged with the responsibility. It will be measured every year. How many people log into business, trade, and how many big companies do we develop out of these? So all these young people here, from Botswana and from everywhere else, you can see yourself going through this ministry as a conduit to your success in business.
How long have you been developing this?
We've been doing this, we started iterating about this since the 2019 elections. We were disrupted by COVID, but we were undeterred. So we put a lot of money. We've also started a national research fund. So we're going to be putting a lot of money into research, into innovation, into enterprise development, into entrepreneurial skills, and a lot of young people are going to be getting into that. There's a whole building that was dedicated to sorting diamonds, or Upper House. We're going to transform it completely into a digital innovation hub for young people.
As part of my job, I get to travel a lot of places, and I get to see different entrepreneurial environments. There is a consistency, which is that the truly entrepreneurial countries foster that climate, the governments foster that climate, but then the governments get out of the way. So what are you planning to do to get out of the way once you've kind of helped seed these to let them grow?
We're privatizing a number of institutions. I also announced recently when we did the rationalization announcement a few days ago that we're privatizing a number of entities. We're merging a number of parastatals. We are going to get out of the way because we're going to be teaching our public servants how to get out of the way. We're going to reduce the public service. We're also going to provide an environment wherein government becomes government. And government is best at governing, not at running a hotel or a restaurant or in a business. So yes, we're ready to move out of the way so that you guys can do what you do best.
All right, you heard it here. We'll hold you to that. Let's talk about your career. I think, again, we have a lot of young people here, and even yesterday having a talk with so many young African entrepreneurs. And again, it's hard. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Being young and trying to navigate the world right now is hard. You've had a career that's not linear. You had successes, of course, and failures, and it wasn't, and especially when you were younger, it wasn't so easy. You had a period where, you didn't even have a job. What have you learned in your career that's a good, good lessons for this group as they're figuring out their path?
Never give up. One, never give up. You always try new ideas. You read. You're constantly learning. And my career has been a mishposh of things. I mean, when I was young in primary school, we had a little soccer team with my age mates, and we were not getting enough pocket money to run our soccer team from our parents. I mean, Botswana was relatively poor, but our parents thought, we were asking for too much. So we put our little monies together and we bought a bag of oranges. And then the challenge was, at the National Stadium, which of us, out of the 6 of us, we were a small group of 6, in the executive of the team, would go and sell those oranges. The other 5 were shy. So I picked up the bag of oranges, and by gosh, I happened to be the son of a minister. I didn't care so much about that. So I was going around the stand, sick it too, But, and only when people were making a comment about, oh, that's a minister's son selling oranges. When I got home, I heard about it. But you must not be clouded by who you are. You must do what you want to do. So I would also suggest that you must lean on strong people who have succeeded. Learn from them, harness from them. And you must be frugal. Be very, very frugal. Save what you have for that rainy day.
That's right. Well, we're actually in a moment where that frugality, and you couldn't be more right, is actually a tremendous virtue for entrepreneurship, because and a lot of people who are 25 don't realize how hard it was to start a business 20, 30 years ago, even 15 years ago, where if you wanted to start a business, you had to raise money for a factory. Yeah. You needed a whole team. Now all you need is an idea and a little bit of code, or maybe just a store on Shopify or on Facebook or something. So, that's the frugality. You will be shocked, and I think a lot of people here are living that dream right now, where what you can start with very little. You don't have to ask for somebody else to give you money to start, and that's not true. Yeah. Even 10 years ago, that wasn't true. Somebody else had to give you permission to start.
And that's why some have said ideas are the currency of the 21st century.
That's right. That's right.
Ideas.
That's right. That's right. Who, you mentioned role models. Who were some of your role models growing up?
Gosh, there were so many. In terms of some of the things that I saw and learned, values, virtues, my parents, of course, my father, late father, and my mom were real role models. I have an older sister. My older sister was a very strong role model, in part because she raised me. We spent a lot of time together, and we were very close. I had a wonderful teacher who was a really wonderful role model. She taught me biology. Miss Cameron was her name. I must confess we fought a lot. I mean, we had difference of view, but we were very close. So she was a very strong role model. Some of our leaders in Botswana were really strong role models as I grew up. And of course, those around the continent, because I read up a lot on them, became very strong role models. And I have always lived by looking up to somebody and trying to follow in their footsteps and do better than they did.
As the head of state, who's your government role model?
Circuit Dumile Masire. He was my role model.
And I guess speaking for Botswana, what are some countries that are role models for Botswana?
South Korea pops up, in terms of what they've done with the economy and how they've done it. I really like what's going on in Ghana right now. Ghana.
Do you have anybody from Ghana here?
Yes, there's
Yeah.
DJ.
I got a couple, yeah.
Yeah, last night we had a DJ from Ghana.
Yes, we did.
I'm very impressed by what President Buhari is doing with Nigeria. It's tough to change as quickly, but if you look at the indicators, it's amazing what he's done. You look at a country, such as Kenya, and look what they've done, particularly with young people and opportunity for young people. It's quite impressive. So I do look at a few in Africa besides South Korea. If you look at what they've done in Vietnam, for instance, if you look at what they're doing in Canada with all the innovation, and I studied in America, and I have a deep respect and love for America. You can excuse a few mistakes, but a lot of the ingenuity, a lot of the creativity, a lot of what the private sector has done in America is mine. It's world class.
Yep.
So I have a lot of admiration for that.
Part of what, and again, speaking, as the American here, part of what works about America is that the institutions are strong. So even when we have governments come in, come out, they do dumb things, they do smart things. But the institutions carry, and also, like I mentioned in the intro, the rule of law, the fact that corruption, again, no country is perfect, no place is perfect, but it's very low relative to the world, very, very low. What are you doing here to make, again, the business community is always looking, and entrepreneurs are looking for the rule of law, they're looking for low corruption. What are you doing on those fronts?
Well, we have very strong institutions. We have deterrences. We're constantly on the top of things in terms of determining whether we need to make any adjustments to our regulatory environment without getting in the way of business. And if we do, we're constantly in conversation with them. So they can say, this is an interruption. I mean, I lead several committees which actually engage the private sector quite strongly. We have an open line. My ministers, my vice president, myself, those in the ruling party and the opposition interact with the business community. One of the beauties about Botswana is it is small. We're only 2.3 million people, although we're just counting. We'll find out how many we are soon, really. We just have a census going right now.
We have a few hundred more today.
Yeah, we've got a few more. But we're small, so we can actually find out things quickly, so we're quite nimble. We also are very focused on ensuring that there is zero toleration of corruption. But more than that, we provide an ambient environment for doing business. We provide policies and programs to capacitate young people, middle-aged people, older people, across the value chains, across the sectors. And that's what we use the national budget for, to give opportunity.
Makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about crypto. Do we have anybody out here who's involved in crypto or blockchain at all? I see a couple of hands, and I think a lot of people are also trying to figure out how it goes into, it's becoming part of every business. I know 2 months ago, Botswana started regulating crypto. What's the strategy, and is there what are your thoughts in terms of the future of crypto here in Botswana and across Africa?
Botswana is not different from any country in the world, particularly the central banks. They're the most nervous about
very
crypto
disruptive
technology. But guess what? In the diamond industry, we use it, right? For traceability, we're mobilizing the world, and I hope you guys can support us. and post out there, campaign for Botswana to be host to the Kimberley Process Secretariat. The Kimberley Process Secretariat is a traceability system, authentication system, so that you could know where your diamonds come from. And not only do we have the world's most valuable diamonds, the most of them.
Yep.
Huh? Yeah? Am I feeling it? Not only do we have that, but we have a responsibility to ourselves and the world to make sure that these are ethically mined. And that's why we'd want the Secretariat here. There's no country in the world for which diamonds mean as much as they do to ours. Without diamonds, there is no us. And without us, the world doesn't have the diamonds. So, so we are really keen to make sure that not only we regulate, cryptocurrencies and the like in a way that benefits its development. So we'll be guided by technology and technologists, and we will amend as appropriate.
I would actually, as you talk about it, it was just dawning in my head that kind of diamonds in a way are they were the first NFTs. I'm serious. Because they have to be authenticated, you have to know both sides, there has to be transparency in terms of where they came from and where they're going, which is the whole point of an NFT. So, that's I think this country is actually intuitively set up for that because, the diamond business really is a blockchain business before there was blockchain.
Yeah.
So, I have a question. Again, you're so good. Your speech yesterday. You're so good on stage. You were an actor, or at least were trained. If you were trained, and I've been thinking about this because over in the Ukraine, Zelensky, when the war, when Russia invaded, everyone's like, oh, what's an actor going to do facing this onslaught? But it turns out that him, with that background, actually is his biggest strength as a leader. As an American, Ronald Reagan was an actor and is acknowledged as was a great leader because he knew how to communicate. How has your acting background affected you as a leader?
I can connect to the audience. I know when I've lost it, I know when I get it. Acting, I'm not a professional actor, it was a hobby. But in politics, I'm doing it for real. Huh? So it's really important to make sure that you connect to the audience, both in the content of what you say and in the focus of your face and eyes and your expressions.
Yep.
So, intonation, movement, pace, time, you need to be together.
And again, I think that's true for entrepreneurs too. As you start businesses, if you have a great idea, listen, you don't need the money to start something right now, but you need to communicate the idea.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got nothing. So, just like you're saying, ideas are the currency of the 21st century. Messaging is the other currency of the 21st century. So I think that's actually really, really great advice.
And you need to convince those who are going to fund you. They need to believe you.
That's right.
And you need to deliver.
That's right. You have to deliver, and you have to be credible. And I think that's where government and business and entrepreneurship are the same, is that you need to deliver on your promises, or else you got nothing. So, well, again, we very much, I know we're running short on time. Any last thoughts for our group? This is the most beautiful room, by the way, the most impressive group of young entrepreneurs I think ever assembled on this continent. So congrats to all of you. Any last thoughts for them as they...
I've just been thinking that this is such a great idea to have all you come here that my Govt and I, the VP, were talking with a few ministers yesterday and a few in the private sector that we want to make this your home. And we want to make it better next year. So you guys throw out ideas, what we can do. We have some ideas, one of which is to offer free working spaces for you all for like 2-3 weeks out here. So welcome to Botswana next year. Forbes can be here. We're going to make it better. We're going to make it funkier. And we're going to make it full of fun.